watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me.
Got enough of every melody, they all sound the same. Yeah, for my broken heart, no remedy. But maybe if you stay, we can get away with it. 'Cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions, just to show me what's on the other side of inhibition. No apologies, my baby. I do you do, 'cause I'm feeling so good. Ooh. I do you do, 'cause I'm feeling so good. Ooh. Oh, my darkest memories, now let me fall back. But you'll be there, ready to rescue me if I go out of track. We can get away with it. 'Cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions, just to show me what's on the other side of inhibition. No apologies, my baby. I do you do, 'cause I'm feeling so good. Yeah. What's on the other side of inhibition? Ooh. do you do? Cause I'm feeling so cool.
And hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another crunchy conservative podcast. I'm Adam Thompson. Joining me, my co-host is Weston Craigie from all the way in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Weston, how was your week, buddy? Kind of a crazy week, but how was your week?
I couldn't tell you because it was so covered with smoke. I couldn't tell what I was doing either.
For those of you who do not live in the Midwest or anywhere near the Canadian border, there's Canadian wildfires currently happening, and also in Montana and Washington, which is creating this heavy, heavy smoke. Friday here in the Black Hills, you could not hardly see anything. Legitimately looked like a very heavy fog, but it was not. It was indeed smoke from that. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the firefighters and all of those who are affected by those wildfires. Those are nothing to mess with. Being in South Dakota ourselves, myself, we had a pretty big fire not too far from us, from the town I live in May. So luckily, no wildfires so far this summer. Not too big of ones, but those who are being affected by the wildfires, our condolences to you. And we hope I hope it gets put out soon because that's just not fun to deal with. So, Weston, this week, my butt is wiped. Made its rounds the internet with Joe Biden. So we learned something about Mr. Joe Biden this week, that his butt was wiped.
Mm-hmm.
When you slow it down, when you slow the video down, man, it sounds exactly. My butt's been wiped. Did I send you that?
No, you didn't. I actually have no clue what you're talking about.
I did not send you that. How did I not send you that? Let me. I'm gonna send it to you right now while we're live, so you can hear it.
Oh, wonderful.
Just because I'm one of those types of people that will do that. Actually, I think I posted in our group chat. Had to be. No. Wow. I did not send it to my group chat. Wow. Let me send it to you, and we'll play it live for everybody, because this is just. I'll send it to the group chat because it's just. So. For those of you who don't know, I am on TikTok at EV5000 or 50,000, excuse me. You can follow me. I do live interviews. I do post-race interviews with race car drivers at the local track on my content. So, but here we go. Here we go. Okay, so yes, our president of the United States announcing that his butt has been wiped. This is this is straight out of Family Guy. Like this has to be the writing of someone of The Simpsons, Family Guy, South, like someone in the South Park, and even Snopes fact checked this because it was
Oh,
going
no.
viral, and they came to the conclusion that they could neither prove could not prove what he said.
No freaking way. Are you kidding me?
What a way to start off the podcast, right? My butt's been wiped.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I am glad to know that our wonderful president,
Yep, unproven.
unproven, yes, unproven indeed. They cannot prove or not prove that what he said. But when you slow it down like that, this will be quite interesting because it took years to figure out what John JFK said in his inaugural speech, and they still can't come to a conclusion today. We will probably be debating this in 50 years about Joe Biden, whether or not he said, "My butt's been wiped," or not.
You know, in the to quote a book that is ever popular with body training, everybody poops.
I'm just, I'm kind of proud of Biden though. I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was, man.
Needs to take the environmental step and use a bidet, though. Come on, man, get with the times. If you can't afford a bidet, get some water bottles.
Huge shooting sprees in Washington, D.C., Weston, crime spiking in Chicago, not only recording another triple-digit shooting rate this weekend. So, with over 50 people dying in those. We got to talk about this just because I think it's becoming more and more apparent that the leftist policies in this new administration is an absolute failure. With the defunding of police, obviously Chicago having its second worst weekend on record this year.
That's tough. Yeah, I mean, local politics and everything, they're definitely ruined their cities. We're seeing them here in Minneapolis that it's been terrifying lately.
Mm-hmm.
We just had 2 shootings in the span of like 2 hours outside of our home like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's gotten so bad, even on the outskirts of the cities, not downtown. And I imagine it's the same with Chicago, where it's just going to the burbs and everything.
Well, let's think about some of these things here. What was the one thing that these guys ran on, these local politicians ran on? Defunding the police.
Yeah.
What did they do? They defunded the police, all right. They did it.
Mm-hmm. Or in Minneapolis' case, and I imagine with other big cities, extremely demoralized into the point where there just can't be a police force because nobody wants to work it.
Yeah, basically demonize the police to the point where everyone basically resigns and goes somewhere else, like here in South Dakota, where there has been an increase in applications to the local police department, the local county sheriff's department. I'm seeing post weekly of new officers actually coming into the force. This is a huge thing for red states, especially like South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, where they're these people are like people criticize people living in these states. People have criticized us for years. I have heard it. We are the laughingstock of the United States. I have heard everything. Oh, you're from South Dakota. Do you even know what a car is? I've heard it all. I have heard it all. Now these
That
people are
reminds me,
moving here.
Adam, how's your buffalo doing?
How's
Is it
my buffalo
well,
doing?
yeah.
Actually, it was really funny. One of the local news stations ran the other day. Should you encounter a buffalo? No, you should not even be near a buffalo. Okay, let's just be real. I'm gonna say it out loud for everybody to hear. All right, if you ever come to the Black Hills of South Dakota, just don't go near the buffalo. Stay in your car. You are safer in the car. That thing, it will f you up.
For anyone that's never seen a buffalo before, the best size comparison I can kind of give you is they're about the size of an ambulance.
Some are, yeah. There's some buffalo that are sizes of ambulances. That's a pretty big That's a
pretty big
it's,
one,
It's a
but
pretty big one.
it's not unseen.
It's not unseen, but the majority, the average size of them is probably the size of a Prius. Okay, that's
Bigger than that.
okay. Yeah, they could step on
Maybe
your
like a
Prius.
minivan or a.
Yeah, you see them. They're huge. They're massive animals. Don't go near them, people. Don't go near them. That is That is one of the local tourism tips. The fact that it was the need for the station to run a story.
Well, Custer also has a new ambulance design. I don't know if you saw it, but I believe the name is Bubsy the Bison, where it has a pair of biker shorts on his horns. Just pasted all over a ambulance.
So, for those of you who don't know what Weston is referencing, last year, actually around this time, it was during the Sturgis motorcycle rally, a woman got off her motorcycle, proceeded to walk up close to a baby bison, where Mama Bison got mad and tore up Mama Biker up and threw her and made her bitch, basically. And the whole biker shorts meme, if you ever see a buffalo short with shorts on it, that's where it comes from. Because this lady had her shorts basically ripped off her body by Mama Bison. And when I said the bison made the biker woman her bitch, I'm not kidding. She did. There are videos. You can look them up on YouTube. Biker woman gets effed by bison. That should take you right to it. All right. I made it easy for everybody right there, Weston.
You did.
Congratulations. Dude, when that happened, I was just like, can we not? Can we not? Like, I'm very surprised there hasn't been more incidences over the years, considering what we hear with people in Florida and people in zoos. Because I did work in what you would basically call a zoo. It was called Reptile Gardens, largest collection of reptiles in the world.
Love that place.
Like, I'm surprised people like didn't try to do like stuff with the gators, especially. Like,
hey,
what?
You guys let them ride the tortoises. That was all they needed to stay away from the gators.
Well, they're not allowed to. They haven't been allowed to for several years. As it comes to find out, that actually hurts them.
That says how long it's been since I've been there.
Yeah, so they no longer allow that, but it's a very unique place. But yeah. But anyways, let's go. Let's continue on here. Our main topic of the day. Well, is Sky Sports Australia has officially been suspended on YouTube. They haven't posted a video in 2 days, actually. That's kind of an insane stat to think about, because this is a actual news channel, basically the equivalency of Fox News in the United States and Australia. Weston, YouTube, Googled really messed up on this one. The source is, this is on the Washington Post. Sky News Australia temporarily suspended from YouTube for alleged spreading coronavirus misinformation.
But we don't have any actual evidence of what the misinformation they spread was
Yep.
at all.
And this is a very typical YouTube thing, where they do not even quote whatsoever what it is. They just say you're just being suspended for this, and that's it. They don't even have to provide you evidence of any wrongdoings, as we have seen with other conservative shows like Louder with Crowder. And their fight against YouTube consistently, they're never given evidence, so they always have to go through the court system to get the evidence on why, and the courts always obviously say, well, yeah, you have to provide evidence, and yet YouTube continues to do this. Australia consistently has been under protest for the past couple of days now over the new lockdowns. This is very concerning, especially for a lot of Australians.
Yeah. I mean, this is a hard example of an American company basically influencing another nation's news network to cover what they prefer to be covered. It's insane. And it's not like Sky's a small network. I mean, I know we don't hear about them here, but this is a an international news coverage site. I believe they operate in Canada as their main hub, and the UK, and then Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three I know about. There could be more.
Oh,
but
there's Sky. There's some. If you know motorsports, you've heard of Sky Sports. They cover the Formula One and majority of the championships, big major championships. So Sky is not, Sky News is very, very big. They have a 24/7 YouTube channel that's consistently live streaming that you can just turn on and watch updates from the UK. So that makes me concerned. And actually, I'm going to look up that right now. Where is Sky News headquarters?
But even on top of that, we're talking about, we always worry about how the US government is overreaching in other countries. And this is by far scarier, because you're talking about a private entity, an American business that has already silenced the US government at one point.
Yep.
Now doing it to news outlets of other countries. I mean, if we're talking about some insane power, we've let our tech companies go to a limit beyond what we ever imagined. This is an example of one world government. It's a one world corpocracy. There we go. We'll go with that.
Let's just call it what it is. It's corruption.
Corptatorship.
It's not even that. It's the fact that Australia's government is allowing it to happen.
Oh my God. And they also got backhanded by Facebook earlier this year too, that denied emergency services to actual Australians. I mean, it wasn't like they couldn't dial 911 anymore, but that's a part. From what I understood, that was a very big spot for public services to post things and tell residents of updates and everything. And Facebook just, because of how it wanted to handle ad or revenue sharing with newspapers, nixed it all.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it with the Nigerian president having his tweet blocked, his tweet censored, and guys, what was his response? He banned Twitter in Nigeria. There you go. I mean, Australia is allowing this to happen, which either says one thing, either says that they are either doing this, the Australian government is telling Google to do this, because obviously they're listening to the United States government. Obviously. So they're probably listening to more governments. Probably. They're probably in communication with the Canadian government. They're probably in communication with the British government, the Chinese, maybe the Chinese government. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, Google is talking directly to governments. I mean, that's how, when you're that big, you deal with all the revenue, all the laws, all the taxes in different countries. You obviously are going to be talking to the governments.
So
at least on the business side at the minimum. So of course there's going to be some sort of talking there. I don't know that I'd go as far as you are saying with taking direction from those governments, but they could be. We obviously had admission from Paskey that Facebook was getting directives from the U.S. government to try and take stuff down. Although from the way that it was less point to that and more, hey, you should take this down. But coming straight from the government, which is still creepy AF.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: when these corporations, when the government says to do something, right? Like instead of point, like you said, oh, you should do this. Usually, most of the time, the government will do that. Well, most corporations will oblige, and Zuckerberg is somebody who obviously is going to be on the liberal side of it. So if it's a liberal agenda, if it's a democratic agenda, like Biden, he's obviously going to do it. If it was Trump doing this, oh my Lord, we would have impeachment 3. We would have impeachment number 3 on the man. If Donald Trump was communicating with social media companies, Democrats would be up in arms and calling for his head, basically, and saying this is a dictatorship. This is violating freedom of the press, and this is censorship. This is what we've all been saying. He would, This is what they do. They say one thing about one side, but do exactly the same thing on their side, but they call it for good. They say it's for the good of social justice and blah, blah, blah. And misinformation is now misinformation's the new racist.
That's the way to put it.
Like, I don't know if you have realized this, but there has been less posts being taken down that are racist than there are being said misinformation.
I think that could also be a consequence of the times with COVID and everything, but I get your point there. But I also am curious how many racist posts are being made versus in quote-unquote misinformation posts.
Yeah, like it's quite, like, this would be quite interesting for somebody to look into, and that might be something I could look into, and we'll report about it, see if I find anything. Sky News is actually based in their actual headquarters is based in the United Kingdom, Republic, and Ireland. They are obviously on in the UK and most of Europe and some in parts of North America, and in Ireland, also Australia. So, what does this say? What are European countries going to do about this? Because obviously, if they can do this to a European-based company in Australia, like, that's the thing. Where does the punishment come from? Where does the accountability need to come from? And honestly, if Australia is just going to bend over and just take it, then the European countries need to step up and say something, because this is obviously affecting their corporation, that British-based corporation.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one thing I'll applaud the EU for is they're a lot more willing to step up to these type monopolistic practices. I mean, you saw multiple times that Google's been sued by the EU for antitrust things and lost, particularly with the right to be forgotten, making Chrome the default browser on Google devices and not giving a browser selection. The same thing with Microsoft. They also got hit with the same antitrust thing where they had to put browser selection things. So the EU doesn't mess around, even though they're considered, I mean, I don't like EU either, but at least one of the big entities is doing something, but they've never taken a step in this direction where it's, well, and I wonder if they even can, because it is a U.S. corporation that has to probably be broken up by the U.S. Well, but they could force Google to operate in, I guess, separate entities in Europe too. So
one of the big things that we should obviously think about is the fact that YouTube and now YouTube, Twitter have now fallen into a long list of people who are now taking control. who are now controlling parts of the narrative and as well as Facebook. So, and people aren't understanding what is really happening. And I was going through TikTok, just seeing what people were saying about this in Australia, and an Australian guy came on. He was furious. He just straight up said it was communistic. This is a communistic thing. This is straight up. We're going straight to communism. Like,
it's totalitarian.
Yeah, it's straight up boom. And also, a few days ago, a pregnant Australian woman was arrested for conspiracy to protest or something like that. She posted something on Facebook about protesting the lockdowns, and she was arrested for it, and she was pregnant. Like, what?
So,
what in the world is happening?
mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I do know Australia is locked down again, partially because they've only got a 15% vax rate, which is insane to me, because here in the US, we can't get people to get vaccines, and we're still at 50%. So I don't understand how it's so bad. Is it just a bad rollout? Is it bad supply? But still, this is terrifying lockdowns where people aren't able to leave the house at times. Or if they go to a separate Providence, are they Providence or states? Doesn't matter.
No.
Separate the Commonwealth of Australia, they have to quarantine for 2 weeks, even if they test negative.
We are in a problem. We obviously have a big problem here with this corporation. So, well, honestly, I hope the people of Australia they rally up. Not many news networks are going to cover this and talk about this. I think this is something that mainstream media wants to stay away from. Obviously, is that YouTube banned Sky News Australia because it just proves the censorship that's happening consistently, and this is absolutely huge. But we're gonna
international censorship too.
Yeah, it's international censorship. So we're gonna keep our eyes on this. We're gonna keep up to date with this, and this is something that I think YouTube particularly is failing on, and YouTube needs to take some form of accountability on this and really explain themselves why. Like, we deserve to know, and I'm really afraid here, Weston, that we're never going to actually have these corporations, these big tech companies, actually have any sense of accountability, especially with the current administration.
Well, as long as we have people that are willing to take bribes and be funded by lobbyists, yeah, it's not going to change. No one's willing to walk with a big stick here anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So, next up on our topics, we're going to be talking about an article an editorial, well, not an editorial, an opinion piece that was written. Let me pull it up here really quick. I don't know why I didn't have it pull up. I have to go way back, Weston, in our conversation. Basically, it was talking about you shouldn't have to be a citizen to vote in the United States. And basically how the article was talking about permanent residency and all that and everything. And here's the thing. Are you allowed to vote in any other country if you immigrate there? If you are under permanent resident status? I'm actually curious. Is there any other country that has a democratic process of election that will allow you to do that?
I actually have no clue.
Zero. I've heard of zero. All right. Let's look at the biggest Democrat governments that have at least a Democrat election. Canada. Can't do that. You have to be a citizen of Canada to vote in Canada. Mexico. You have to be a citizen of Mexico to vote in Mexico. England, you have to be a resident. You have to be at least somewhere close to citizenship, I think. I think they're the only ones that don't allow full citizenship, but some point close, like as long as you live somewhere within the Isles of the United Kingdom.
Gotcha. That's right. Even the U.S. Territories can't vote in national elections.
Our territories are not even allowed to vote in the election. Like, come on, guys. It made me upset. And when you look into her history, the author of this article, she never claimed permanent residency for 17 years. She kept going back to wherever she was from, and she would come back. Yeah, she would go back to Canada and come back. And, well, you can't do that. You know, there are rules, people. There's rules for every single immigration system out there. I personally know people who are going through the process right now. There's rules, actually. Roommate. Yep. How hard is the immigration?
Depending how much you fucked up.
For you?
Well, for me, it will be, I don't know.
It's kind of been a pain in the butt, hasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's collection of documents and it takes time.
Takes time, he says. Yeah,
It takes you about almost 2 years to get the permanent residency.
yeah. So there's rules to immigration. All right? We're not just going to open up everything and just allow people to do whatever they want. Okay? There's rules that they, to get into the country, to stay in the country, to.
Well, and you have to be somewhat knowledgeable of the culture, the atmosphere, and the ongoing issues of the country too. I mean, it's hard to say that someone that has no knowledge or even understanding of the frame that a U.S. citizen would operate in the United States should have a say in what affects all of us that have lived here, that know the culture, that understand what the problems are.
Mm-hmm. So my roommate was just telling me, so for him, he can't leave the country. He cannot leave the country while he's going through this process. If he does, he loses visa, and then he has to go through the visa process again. And the visa process is a very, very hard process.
Mhm.
How
long does he have to stay in the U.S. before he gets citizenship?
That I'm not sure of. But right now he's working on, getting a job so he can then work. It's a process. Either way, it's still a process. There's rules and everything, but there's a way to get there that I think is it's almost reasonable. There's some parts of it that I don't think is reasonable that we could look at and reform. But for the most part, it's been to get to the citizenship, it's fairly reasonable. But this article just talked about it, and it just made me really mad because there are people, the fact that this is being printed on the New York Times is absolutely insane. The fact that the editor of the New York Times just went, let's just run this. Why not? This is why I'm concerned with the media. The media is so gone to the far left, to the fullest extent of accepting socialism and accepting authoritarianism, that they're just so blind. Brian Stelter, or whatever, I don't care what his name is, Egghead, on CNN. You know what his ratings? He hasn't hit 1 million views, watching his content. He hasn't hit it in 3-4 months. No primetime CNN show has actually done very well in the ratings. Which I don't know if that should say that we are facing either people are just turned off or people are kind of went, wait a minute. But the media accepting this basically communistic.
Of course, people are turned off. Orange Man Bad is out of the office. They don't give a dang anymore.
Yeah. CNN needs Trump. Honestly, that's the only thing that was keeping them alive was Trump.
Oh, and now AT&T, at least back in November and December, was looking to sell CNN because it wasn't profitable anymore.
Well, no, and honestly, I don't blame them because a few months later, the CNN building ended up getting in Atlanta, ended up getting like its windows all smashed up in a riot. So that was very satisfying to see. Not saying anything about violence, but just watching the video, I got great satisfaction watching it. So, Weston, looking at now our next article, here we have from The Atlantic, the My Pillow guy really could destroy democracy in the time.
Worse than Jefferson Davis, as she says.
In the time I spent with Mike Liddell, I came to learn that he's an affable, devout, philanthropic,
philanthropist.
No, it's like that is not ist. That is not ist. That it says on the article, sir. And a clear threat to the nation by an apple bomb. What a headline. What a headline.
Pretty intense.
That is so intense. So, I did some very quick research on the author of An Apple Bomb. All right. Get ready for this, guys. Get ready for this. Anne Elizabeth Applebaum is an American journalist and historian. She has written extensively about Marxism and Leninism and the development of civil society in Central and Eastern Europe. She has worked on the Economicist and the Spectator and is a member of the editorial board of the Washington Post.
So she's on the editorial board and posting of The Atlantic. That's kind of funny.
That's kind of funny. So you look at the books that she has written. She has written Gulag, a History in 2003. Red Famine, Stalin's War on Ukraine. The Iron Curtain, Between East and West, 1994. Yeah, a lot of books about Marxism. So should we take somebody that knows more about Marxism than anything?
Well, I just think the whole argument was ridiculous. No matter how brazenly weird Lindell's opinions about November 3rd was, the dude doesn't have the reach that we've just talked about earlier this podcast. I mean, you're talking about a dude that has 2,500 employees. He's not making giant social media platforms to censor news networks or countries. He makes pillows.
He makes
pillows. He gets ads. He puts ads out on right-wing news outlets, and he says some crazy stuff. But guess what? He makes pillows. He is not the big cancer of this country, such as the social media tech-opoly giants.
Yes.
What is he going to do with his nice, soft, and quite frankly, a little awkward to sleep on sometimes pillows? I do have a My Pillow, but I love it to death, and you got to fluff it. That's the secret.
One of the things, I'm a My Pillow customer. I own a My Pillow. I'm a big fan of Mike Lindell. I was a way big fan of Mike Lindell way before all of this. But the fact that this author compares him basically to worse than Jefferson Davis. What?
Like, an insane thing.
But the thing is that one of the things that people don't understand in trying to make comparisons to something that would make him a threat. Jefferson Davis is no, like, you know, if you
Jefferson Davis was the president of the Confederacy. I think he was a pretty big threat. I think she's way overstating Lindell.
Yeah, she's just trying to reach for grass, but like one of the biggest, like if she said, "Oh, he's like Hitler," okay, there we go. Now we have something we can actually like debate about. Because here's the thing: we can't debate about Jefferson Davis. There's a difference because Jefferson Davis was still able to be like allowed in government. Like that was interesting. So
he was exiled after the Confederacy lost.
Exiled.
Okay, yes, exiled, but he was never allowed to take part in government stuff. I mean, the dude was a bad guy. I think saying that we can't debate about how bad he was not.
I'm not saying because we can't talk about the history about Jefferson Davis because when you think of Jefferson Davis, you just think of the Southern South, and that's something we really can't debate against comparatively to Mike Lindell, because then we would be saying he's a racist and all this, right?
I think the bigger thing is dividing the country and getting people to start civil war, which I think she's insane, but he
does
apples,
not want a civil war.
Atomic bombs, they're different, but they're also the same because cyanide kills people and they're in apples, so they must be the same thing. Apples are ICBMs, people. Get rid of apples. That is the secret here. No more apples.
Get OnePlus. Non-sponsored. I mean, I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. We're not talking about it.
No, we're not talking about it.
We're not talking about
it.
OnePlus. But anyway, just the comparison is just really annoying because it's just not good. But I wonder what she even thinks. I really don't care what she thinks. She's a Marxist. So Marxists don't have any credibility. How about that?
Yeah, I could go with that, but beyond that, it was just the overstatement and ridiculous argument they're trying to make. Like, no matter how crazy Lindell may be, he's not Jefferson Davis. He's not going to be the president of the United States. He doesn't have the reach, and he's not a giant techopoly. He poses no threat besides going on Steve Bannon's thing and running ads on Newsmax. For the two people that watch Newsmax.
Here's the thing. Nobody heard of Steve Bannon until Trump.
That's true.
Like all these people that these guys are going after, like they were never.
No. Nobody but extreme leftists heard of Steve Bannon before Trump.
Oh yeah, because extreme leftism, screw those people. But Mike Lindell has been under fire. I feel bad for him at this point. At this point, he's just getting beaten down so much. Like, the media treats him like Trump for the past 4 years. That's what they're doing. Mike Lindell does not deserve this type of treatment. Like, the man supported Trump, even though his viewpoints may be a little bit out of reach for a lot of conservatives, especially. Especially conservatives. If we would just quit beating the man down and actually address these things.
I just wish companies could go back to staying out of politics. Yeah. Back when Coke wasn't woke and the MLB didn't care what happened in Georgia.
Because
even though it was better for Georgians.
Here's what media outlets like to do. They will call these companies, right, who sponsor or who sponsor events, who are big names, right, and say, do you have a comment about this? And put these people in a position where they have to make a comment. Why? And Coke and all these other corporations who decided to go woke, you could have told them to fuck off.
It's just a matter of what sells more. You're marketing to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's good, a free news story. That's the best advertising you can ever get. You didn't have to spend money. That's like for a corporation when they can get a news story, a business, if they can get their name on primetime news, that's better than any PR that they could ever pay for, because
Yeah.
it's not, they don't even have to pay anybody to do that. They have someone on, somebody with a much bigger following than maybe that they do, or somebody, a news anchor saying Coca-Cola Coca-Cola today decided to pull back on Atlanta's voting law.
Yep. That's why conservatives only drink RC Cola. The cola of conservatives. Okay, just real quick, I've never had RC Cola, and I just think it's really funny because it's an R, Republican, C, or conservative, even though that's totally not what it stands for at all. What is it? I think it's Royal Cola or something like that.
I don't know. I really don't care
But
because
I think it's funny as heck. That's why I keep saying it. There's no relationship.
see, I'm drinking a zero sugar cherry vanilla right now.
As it should be. Like, I just wish companies would quit caring about politics, because why should it matter what brands Well, what should it matter beyond ethical practices of the brands?
Mm-hmm.
What brands I should be shopping for?
Yeah.
That's why I don't shop Nike.
Yeah, Nike. Well, Nike's been under scrutiny for a long time.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
But they finally got a win.
The ethical stuff.
Nike got a win. Finally.
Mm.
Remember the attorney for Stormy Daniels, Michael Avenatti?
Yes, I do. I know about this. He got hit hard because I forget what he was going to threaten to come out with.
Extortion.
But basically he was extorting them.
Yep.
Because he found out something. Then they're like, well, we're suing you to oblivion.
And he lost.
And he's going to jail.
Which, honestly, out of this entire year right now, when I heard that, and I heard he cried.
Yep.
I forgot
about that.
I heard he cried. And the best part is, he'll never see this. He'll never see this podcast. So we could talk massive shit about him right now. And that's what we're going to do. The man, Michael Avenatti, the fact that he is in prison right now for basically being just a jackass is just great. It's a great satisfaction. I bet, out of everything for Trump, even though he lost the election, when he heard that that lawyer was going to jail, he went, that's a win.
Hear you, Mr. Avenatti. My hair is real, and you'll never be able to prove it otherwise. Now get locked up.
He's winning. Trump always wins, man.
You're fired. Wins. You're fired. Locked up.
So can we actually call that a Donald Trump win? The fact that Michael Avenatti was trying to go after Trump criminally, and then Avenatti's the one who ends up in jail?
I mean, I don't know how much it matters, but sure.
I call it a win. Honestly, that's just a personal victory for the man, because that man, this is the fact that this attorney just comes out of nowhere. Like, nobody's heard of Michael Avenatti until he was like, I'm going after Trump. Yeah, sure, bud. Sure you are. And what ends up happening?
Flew too close to the sun. Thought I could blackmail a multinational company.
Yeah. Also, remember the fact that Stormy Daniels also sued him.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
For taking her money and not doing the things that she wanted her lawyer to do with the money.
Yep.
Not good, Weston. The man's a jackass. He's now been thrown in jail.
He was a bad lawyer, didn't stand up to ethical things, and, he ended where he ended.
He ended himself, indeed. Well, what do we have to look forward to this week, sir? We have another full week. It's only Monday. Monday.
I swear if he turns the next Jeffrey Epstein or John McAfee, I'm going to just stop watching news.
Honestly, yeah, we'll keep our eyes out on that. So this week, let's see if Biden continues to have his butt clean. if his aides will make sure that that is done.
Or if he switches to a more green, clean bidet.
Yes, yes. I'll be curious. I'll be curious if he'll announce if he ever goes #1.
I guess there is no book that says everybody pees, so
Because here's the thing. I'm genuinely curious now. I'm genuinely curious. The man, he's already announced that his butt is wiped. Congrats. But what about the other part? We need that. Zachy, get behind this. We need answers.
I don't know the I'm not gonna say that joke.
Is Dr. Anthony Fauci going to be on any news networks or at any hearings again this week? I want to see him.
I doubt it.
Okay, who knows? I want to see him and Rand Paul go back at each other again.
You're a liar. No, you're a liar, Mr. Doctor. Please stand.
You know what they called him?
You know what?
Either CNN or Dr. Fauci said this, that he's not a doctor.
Dude, he's got a JD. That is a doctorate. He is as much a doctor as
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, I mean, it's degree only. The dude hasn't actually seen a patient in years. A doctor is a doctor. Respect the title, man. Yeah, you don't go to a courtroom and not call the judge your honor just because you're pissed at them. You'll get held in contempt.
There you go. So, yeah. So this will be interesting to see how this will go down. We want to thank you guys for watching. You can watch us every week. We stream every Monday live at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube on the Crunchy Conservative YouTube channel. I know we were pretty harsh on them. Hopefully they don't ban us for this video. And if they do, well, this will get interesting.
Do you want to talk about the moratorium at all?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a couple of minutes to talk about that. So let's talk about that. The eviction moratorium has expired officially. Benefits has expired. Unemployment benefits have now expired as well as the July 31st.
Unemployment benefits don't expire until September 9th. Some states have already banned or ended them, but nationally it does not end until September 9th.
We did. But so anyway, but eviction moratorium is no longer in place. And things are going to get real.
I am scared what this means, because there were a lot of people, and I'm not going to say everyone that wasn't paying rent was taking advantage of the system, but there were a lot of people that were taking advantage of the system as well.
Well,
and now that we're dealing with the eviction moratoriums being lifted in most states, my state here in Minnesota decided to extend theirs until, I think, September. But yeah, we're going to see a nationwide eviction crisis probably. You're going to see eviction notices coming in 30 days to get caught up or leave. And I know some people are probably like, so what if I get evicted here? I'll just go to the next property. A lot of rental places don't let you rent if you've been evicted. They'll see that on your thing and be like, yeah, we're not renting to you. And same with home ownership. There's going to be a ton of foreclosures. It's scary.
Well, here's the thing. Landlords need to be very cautious on how they proceed from here. Now with it done, maybe these people, some of the people who did not take advantage, hopefully they can work something out with the landlord, get on a payment plan.
Very much so. But there's also been assistance the entire time.
Yeah. As soon as if you work out a payment plan with your landlord and it works out, good, right? But to the people who are taking advantage of this, landlords, do your thing. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Because
and I know
they had assistance. They had the money. Yeah. And the fact that they spent their money on other crap other than rent is their fault, not the landlord's fault. So
yeah. And we're talking specific about the ones that were in the position to pay rent and just chose not to because reasons. Not the ones that legitimately needed the stay of evictions.
Yeah.
Also, I am not going to say that, look, landlords are they're not untouchable beings. They have a lot of expenses. They take care of land, maintenance. They take care of maintenance of the apartments and things like that. So them not getting an income from this, I know people look down on them like the scum of the earth because they do kind of take a lot of people's income because housing's expensive. But they also provide services on top of that housing. I mean, they pay the taxes, they upkeep the property, like I said.
Yep.
So there is a trade-off, and landlords do need to get paid. It's not like they have unlimited pockets.
Yeah, they do. They do need to get paid, and so it will be interesting to see how that will happen. What will happen here in the next coming weeks?
Yep. Hopefully, we don't have another '08 style crash because
Well,
that would
be bad.
not be great.
That would not be great. Well, folks, we want to thank you for watching the Crunchy Conservative Podcast. If you like the podcast, hit the subscribe button right below Weston, and also give the video a like. If you would like, also leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you on any topics you would like us to cover or pay attention to as well. For Weston, myself, we want to thank you for watching. We hope to see you next week, every Monday at 9 p.m. right here on YouTube on the Crunchy Conservatives YouTube channel. So thanks, guys. Have a great night.